Doesn't it feel like games are just getting longer? When I was growing up and we would rent a game from Blockbuster Video, you could easily finish the game before you had to bring it back. These days, some of the most epic adventures in gaming can take 20, 40, or even 100 hours to complete. And listen, a grand adventure where you can meet new characters, watch them grow, and take down the ultimate evil in the game can be great, but sometimes you just want to finish things. That brings me to the topic of today's video. In this one, I'm going to provide you with 6 excellent games that you could play in 1 or 2 sittings. Essentially, these games are self-contained adventures that can be played in under 6 hours. There are a few games that I find are often recommended when people talk about short games, so I'm going to try to give you picks that aren't spoken about as often. Keeping with the theme of brevity, let's jump right into it. First, let's start with a game that can get you outside into nature. Well, I mean virtually, of course. A Short Hike. This game, developed and published by Adam Robinson Yu with the help of some close collaborators, is all about one bird's adventure in an Ontario park. You play as Claire, and your goal is to get cell phone reception at the top of a mountain in order to take a very important phone call. I mean, I know that's a bit of a weird pitch, but hear me out because this game is easily one of the best things that came out in 2019. It's a platformer where you run errands, collect items, fish, play sports, and fly, all with very little guidance. But it totally works. Exploring the different terrain will expose you to golden feathers, which will allow you to fly higher each time you collect one. Get to the top of the mountain as quickly as you can, or take it slowly if you want to make new friends and explore every inch of the island. Oh, and the music is wonderful if you're a fan of lo-fi chill beats. Play this game if you like fun writing, good platforming, and chill times. This game is a wonderful way to spend a rainy Saturday afternoon indoors with a warm cup of coffee and a good pair of headphones. The game is available on PC, Mac, and Linux, and should take you anywhere from 1 to 3 hours to play through, depending on how you play. Next is a chaotic, cat-centric, monochromatic Metroidvania game called Gato Roboto. Developed by Doinksoft, yes, that's their name, and published by Devolver Digital, you play as Kiki the cat, who has been thrust into an adventure that would make Samus Aran jealous. In this Meowtroidvania, game, you will collect upgrades to your robotic suit and defeat a series of very intelligent rats to save your owner Gary. If this would have been released on the NES, Kiki would have been a household name in 2020. The controls are tight, the upgrades will gravely impact your playstyle, and if you don't like the game in black and white, you can collect all of the game's hidden unlockables, and change the colors to blue and orange, red and black, or better yet, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Again, sorry. This game is made for Metroidvania fans, so if you liked games like Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, Shadow Complex, Ori and the Blind Forest, or SteamWorld Dig, you'll love the very short and tight Gato Roboto. You can play it on Nintendo Switch, PC, or Mac, and can finish it in 3 to 4 hours. We move now from cats in robotic suits to a very cute climbing robot in Grow Home. In this flip-floppy platforming game, you play as Bud, or Botanical Utility Droid. Your goal is to help oxygenate the very small open world in the game, and you do that by growing a plant called the Star Plant. This game is essentially Jack and the Beanstalk, or rather, Bud and the Beanstalk. Once you have grown the plant to 2 kilometers high, you win the game. The fun though is in maneuvering your very floppy robot. He's just so floppy and so clumsy. In the game, you'll climb, bounce, float, and ride star stalks for between 3 to 5 hours. This game came to us through an 8-person team at Ubisoft Reflections, the team behind one of my favorite driving games, Driver San Francisco. No, not the bad 3D ones, the good 3D one. Grow Home is a great game if you like platformers like Super Mario Galaxy or any of the Ratchet & Clank games, and don't mind a character that doesn't always do exactly what you want. Look, this isn't as polished as those games, but ride a beanstalk once and tell me you didn't smile. You can play this one on PS4, Linux, and Windows. You might not be able to make it to the moon and Grow Home, but you might make it there and to the moon. Developed and published by Freebird Games, this tale is helmed by writer, designer, artist, and composer Ken Gao. It's a storytelling adventure game in the mold of a 16 or 32-bit RPG, except there's very little RPG in this one. The game tells the story of Johnny Wiles. Johnny is dying, and the wish from his deathbed is to, you guessed it, go to the moon. But we don't exactly know why. You play as two scientists from the Sigmund Corporation who can modify dying patients' memories to allow them to fulfill their dying wishes. This twisty, turny, anime-esque story will probably have you tearing up at some point, but in a Nicholas Sparks kind of way. Despite being almost 10 years old, I still have not played a lot of games like To the Moon. It looks like an older Final Fantasy game, but plays like a visual novel. And if you like this one, there's a To the Moon animated film on the way, and other games in the series too. You can play this one on Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, Android, or Switch, and it should take you about 4 hours to finish. If you would like to be punched in the gut emotionally again after playing To the Moon, consider What Remains of Edith Finch. In the mold of the trailblazing Gone Home, this walking simulator sees you take the titular character's journal to Orcas Island. Through this journal, you begin to unravel a mysterious curse affecting all of the members of the Finch family. In gameplay, you explore the Finch home and see exactly how each member of the family had been cursed. You do so through a series of unique gameplay vignettes that create an incredibly compelling anthology. This 3-hour game gets huge points for its presentation. While Edith narrates what's going on in the game, her words are placed in full view for you to see. This is just one of the game's many surprising presentational elements. This is Giant Sparrow's second game after 2012's The Unfinished Swan. What Remains of Edith Finch is an adventure like few others in games, and reminded me a lot of the 1996 film Matilda. It shares a lot of the whimsy of early Harry Potter films, while also sharing the darkness from some of the later entries in that exact same series. The game's publisher, Annapurna Interactive, has a sterling record for publishing some of the most interesting and unique experiences in games, and if you like this title, there are others in their catalog that will also tickle your fancy. This game is available on Windows, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. The final game that I have for you in this video may not be for everyone, but if you're a fan of the supernatural, then Virginia may be an excellent choice for you. The graphics may be a little bit simple and the characters look like Lego Duplo characters, but if you can get past the graphics, you'll fall head over heels for the compelling story held within. In this first-person mystery, you play as Ann Tarver, a newly minted FBI agent who's been asked to investigate the disappearance of a young boy in a small town in, you guessed it, Virginia. This 2-hour game is perfect for fans of X-Files, Twin Peaks, Alan Wake, or Control, because the case starts taking a turn to the supernatural. In addition to a page-turning story, the music by Lyndon Holland is sublime, and the fast-forward sequence is one of the most memorable sequences that I've seen in a video game ever. You'll remember it when you see it. Play this one on Windows, Mac, PS4, or Xbox One. Variable State, the developers behind this game, have a new one coming called Last Stop. In it, it looks like they've taken the core of Virginia, a supernatural mystery adventure game, and cranked the production values to 11. Get hyped. And there you have it, 6 great games that you can finish in an afternoon. In case you wanted to know more about these games, I have a podcast where we dive deep on the stories and mechanics that make these games tick. We have episodes for all 6 of these games, so if you like what you've heard here and try one of these titles, download the respective episode of my show, The Left Behind Game Club. You can find it at leftbehindgame.club on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever podcasts can be found. If you're still listening to this video, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and be sure to follow me on Twitter at Jacob McCourt to hear more about video games. Thanks for watching.